My boyfriend is moving in with his female best friend and their closeness makes me uncomfortable. So my boyfriend and I have been together for just under a year. When we first started dating, he told me about Faith, one of his best friends. They've known one another since childhood and are extremely close. I didn't have a problem with this initially because Faith had a boyfriend, and the way she acted towards my boyfriend, she also acted towards another close male friend, so I thought it's just who she is. Just before Christmas, Faith and her boyfriend broke up. I never got the details, just that it was a really bad breakup. They were living together and Faith needed a place to stay, so my boyfriend offered his couch. This is where I started getting uncomfortable. I told him I didn't like some girl staying at his place like this, and he told me it's temporary and she's his best friend and I don't get a say in who he lends his couch out to. We argued and eventually I relented. On New Year's, I wanted to go back to his place after the celebration at my friend's place, but he said Faith is there and we wouldn't be able to do anything intimate, and I got annoyed and said she can listen to us doing it for all I care. He got annoyed at that and said he's not doing that. I asked him when she plans on getting her own place, and he said she's looking, but it's hard to find something in her price range. I went home alone that night. A week ago, he wasn't feeling the greatest, so I wanted to surprise him with food, so I showed up to his apartment and she answered the door in a tank top and very small pajama shorts. When she went to have a shower, I asked him if she walks around like that all the time, and he said yes, and saw me get annoyed and told me not to start. I asked him how he'd feel if I had a close male friend living with me walking around half naked, and he said he'd be uncomfortable but he'd trust me not to do anything. I told him I do trust him, but it's still a boundary for me, and I asked again when she's moving out. That's when he dropped the bomb on me that the two of them have decided to look for a place together once his lease is up in March. I lost it. She heard us fighting and came out of the shower, dressed, somewhat, and asked what was wrong, and I told her I'm not comfortable with any of this. She apologized and said I better find a way to be comfortable with it. He didn't say anything, and when I said, "Seriously?" he sighed and told me she's right, that she's been his friend longer than I've been in his life, and this will benefit them both in the long run, so this is what's happening. I asked what's going to happen if we wanted to move in together before the lease to whatever place they're getting is up, and he said that's something we can discuss if and when that happens. I was so unbelievably mad and insulted that I just left. I texted him later and asked him to think about what's more important, living with her or our relationship, and he said that sounds like I'm giving him an ultimatum, and I said that's not what I'm doing, but he's being unreasonable. We've been texting since, but it feels like it's probably the end of our relationship. I brought up my discomfort about everything, including how close they are to my best friend, and she said there's nothing I can do, and I'll lose 100% of the time, which kinda pissed me off because if he saw a future with me at all, then shouldn't he want to fight for us and make me feel comfortable in the relationship? Update. So first of all, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who commented and gave me advice and support. I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. As for an update, I texted him Thursday sometime after I made the post that I wanted to come pick up the things I have at his place Friday after work. All he replied with was sure. Last night after work I went to his place, and when I got there I texted him that I was in the parking lot and told him to bring my stuff down. I really didn't want to deal with Faith, like at all. He eventually came downstairs with a box of my stuff. I went there with every intention on just getting my things and walking away, not saying anything, but I dunno, it was like word vomit. I couldn't stop myself, and I asked him how long they'd been sleeping together. He kinda laughed and said it really doesn't matter now, does it? And I said it kinda does if he's been sleeping with both of us at the same time. He said the night I stormed out of his place when he was sick was the first time they slept together since we've been together. I didn't ask if they've slept together before me. I feel like the way he worded his answer confirmed they have a history of hooking up, but maybe I'm reading into it. The last thing I said to him was that he needs to figure his crap out, because no woman is going to play second to her forever. I got in my car and left without letting him respond or looking for a reaction. It didn't feel great to know that he cheated on me, even though I kinda expected it, to be honest. I think I'm somewhere between anger and indifference right now. I've deleted and blocked both of them on literally everything. I just want to move on from all this. I know some of you are gonna say it's a lesson to be learned, but all I learned from this is to make sure the next guy has no intimate history with any female friends before it becomes a relationship, because screw that. Top comments.
This sounds weird. Why all of a sudden now during your relationship when they've known each other for so long? It's also weird that if they would have been hooking up before you, why didn't they just become boyfriend and girlfriend? I'm immensely confused. Are they dropped on their heads or something, or is it something else?
I kind of feel like they have this weird obsession with each other, but for whatever reason won't date. I also don't believe they haven't been hooking up throughout our entire relationship. He's a cheater, a liar wouldn't be that much more of a stretch.
You sound really calm. I would be like infuriated, like wanting to burn them, kind of angry, lol. You alright?
I cried on the way home and I'm sitting in bed eating ice cream, so I'm handling it as well as I can.
Oh, honey. He didn't just cheat on her that day when she stormed out. Every single cheater who admits it always frames it that same way in order to deflect blame. Well, you left and that's why it happened. No, this has been going on a while, likely before she moved onto his sofa, LMAO. The biggest clue was that boyfriend was largely unconcerned about their intimate life, because he was getting it somewhere else.
Regardless of when they started hooking up, his response is to gaslight and humiliate her. I'm sure he's calling her crazy now when, truth be told, he's just a naive coward who has no clue he's being controlled by his BFF. Felt really bad for OP at first, but now I'm just glad she's eating ice cream far away from their ingenious mess.
The fact he cheats on the same day after OP makes it clear she is uncomfortable, and all just proves how much of a garbage person the boyfriend is. I'm happy to hear she dumped him, but I still feel upset on OP's behalf.